some kid's dad had sex with son's girlfriend.
Yeah.
Says McAfee helped spread a rumor that is ruining her life.
Not only do we meet the definition of defamation, we actually kick it up a notch to what's called defamation per se.
Pat McAfee is in a lot of trouble, which is nothing new for ESPN's boldest content creator. At this point, if you love Pat McAfee, it's probably for the same exact reason as to why people don't like Pat McAfee. His style is much more unconventional and slightly unorthodox compared to the regular individuals that you see on ESPN prior to him signing with ESPN. Some people find his style and his sense of humor and the way that he conducts interviews to be a breath of fresh air, significantly different than what we would see prior to his emergence in the space. McAfee is notorious for making his guests feel comfortable on the show, so much so that he was able to get Aaron Rodgers to agree to come on his show on a weekly basis, which in the very beginning fans absolutely loved, but eventually they felt like Aaron Rodgers was leveraging his spot on the show to stir controversy. And some of these situations were quite comical, whether it was him showing his toe on the Pat McAfee show, or announcing that he was going to join the New York Jets on the Pat McAfee show, him telling us what was going on in his mind while he tore his Achilles, and him even explaining that he fully intended to return the year that he tore his Achilles, which he inevitably wasn't able to achieve. But at the same time, when you're running a daily sports show and you're going on the air for about 3 hours a day, then obviously there's a lot of room for controversy to occur. No content creator is perfect, and unfortunately, Pat McAfee found himself in such a situation. The last time he really got himself into a situation like this was when Aaron Rodgers came on his show and alleged that Jimmy Kimmel was going to be on the Epstein list. This without a doubt opened a huge can of worms for ESPN, and rightfully so. When you're a company that's as big as ESPN, you don't really want mention of the Epstein list on your programming, especially in front of a national audience. McAfee would even apologize for the incident taking place.
Whenever you're freewheeling and dealing in here, they can certainly lead to some places that cause like international news and things like that. And whenever there's accusations made about people, that can lead to lawsuits. I think that is a good part of what we do, is we're able to kind of just roll with the punches. So everybody that comes on the stage has to be able to like basically keep up with where we're headed. There's no formal outline of what we're going to talk about, how we're going to talk about it. There is just an opportunity to talk about damn near everything for 3.5 hours. And in doing so, there could be some things that were certainly probably meant to be shit talk joke that can then become something that is obviously a very serious allegation that then leads to a massive overnight story, one in which what? Put baby down, sleep, haven't seen her in a while, and then I pick up my phone. Boy. We obviously don't like the fact that we're associated with anything negative ever. We like our show to be an uplifting one, a happy one, a fun one. So we apologize for being a part of it. Because remember, you're allowed to disagree with people's opinions. You're allowed to say like, I don't... You sound dumb. The more and more you talk.
And following this, there were questions of whether or not McAfee would continue on ESPN or not. Fans of the show knew that this wasn't only a possibility, but an inevitability that McAfee's style could potentially clash with ESPN. And McAfee's approach to this was insane to watch. He would go on his show and declare war on an ESPN executive for trying to besmirch his name.
There are some people actively trying to sabotage us from within ESPN. More specifically, I believe Norby Williamson. I'm not 100% sure. That is just seemingly the only human that has information, and then somehow that information gets leaked and it's wrong, and then it sets a narrative. Somebody tried to get ahead of our actual ratings release with wrong numbers 12 hours beforehand. That's a sabotage attempt, and it's been happening basically this entire season from some people who didn't necessarily love the old edition of the Pat McAfee show to the ESPN family. This guy has had zero respect for me, and in return, same thing back to him for a long time.
And the craziest part of all is he would get into a beef with ESPN's golden boy, Stephen A. Smith, allegedly calling Stephen A. Smith a motherfucker in a heated argument in which McAfee would say, "I have nothing but love for Stephen A. Smith. I think I'm still welcome on First Take. I was scheduled through football season to join on Tuesdays. Hopefully next year that'll happen as well." Stephen A. would even say that him and McAfee have no issue in the notion that he'd be banned from First Take is BS. These two have a very good professional working relationship. I don't really know what's going on behind the scenes. I just know that LeBron James chose to go on Pat McAfee's show, who's known to be Stephen A. Smith's biggest op, to talk trash trash about Stephen A. Smith, and we have a completely separate video on that on Flight Mike if you guys want to check it out. This is what Stephen A. Smith had to say about Pat McAfee in March of 2024.
I can't stand a drunk ass person coming to me. I don't like it. Maybe it's because it reminds me of some of the stuff my father used to do. As a black man, I think that it's incredibly challenging and self-deprecating for you to compromise your alertness. I don't like drugs. I don't like alcohol. But if you doing it around family, we got family party at the house, whatever. I don't care about all that. I'm talking about when you out in public settings, you don't know who's next to you, behind you, in front of you, and you come across like that, that bothers me, right? And I also am true to character from the standpoint that I'm not trying to fight anybody. I'm not that dude. I don't want conflict, but I ain't scared of it. And if you roll up on me wrong, I'm gonna let you know that was the wrong way to roll up on me.
At the end of the day, these two individuals more or less do the same thing. They bring tremendous entertainment value to sports talk and sports analysis. I'm not necessarily watching Pat McAfee or Stephen A. Smith for deep dives on content, but it's very entertaining from time to time to watch these two talk about trending sports topics. And when Pat McAfee went on All the Smoke, he made it seem like the beef he had to do with the suits at ESPN as opposed to someone like Stephen A.
That was just a warning shot to, I thought, a person that was, at the same, which is hilarious because he's the former president of the place. I guess a lot of people had a lot of fear of him. I did not. That guy left me sitting in his office for 45 minutes, no-showed me when I was supposed to have a meeting with him. He also banned all my friends from coming on my show. There was a ban of ESPN talent on my show on YouTube that came directly from him. So much so that I started a hashtag ESPN stinks. The next day is when I met Jimmy Pitaro. Jimmy Pitaro called me and said, what's the deal? And I told him, you guys are banning my friends from coming on my show. All these people that I've known since before they got into ESPN, you guys banned it. So that guy was not a fan of me or our operation for a long time. Whenever ESPN signs us, and our show is now in place of SportsCenter at noon, there became a war almost from behind scenes from SportsCenter people and people that have been at ESPN a long time against us coming in and taking their jobs and all this other shit.
And for the most part, McAfee has avoided controversy since then. I haven't really heard of him getting involved in anything since then, at least nothing that I would make content on, up until a little bit over a month ago. But before we get to that, this video is sponsored by Prize Picks. Today's video is sponsored by Prize Picks. We've been having a dominant run making easy money on our NBA props that I give away on my Instagram at The Flight Mike and on my Patreon at Mikerophone. Make sure you use my promo code Mikerophone to get $50 when you make a play of $5 or more, or just click in the link in the description down below. And thank you, Prize Picks, for the sponsor. Over a month ago, an Ole Miss student by the name of Mary Kay Cornett went absolutely viral on social media. And to simplify the rumor without going in too deep about it, the rumor was that Mary Kay Cornett allegedly slept with her boyfriend's father. Now, whenever a story like this picks up steam, obviously trending individuals in the media may pick up on it and discuss it, primarily because the virality of the story would result in them getting more views. At the time, Cornett posted this on her Instagram, saying, "My name is Mary Kay Cornett, and I would like to discuss the events that have happened over the past few days. First of all, this rumor is 100% completely false, and it is quite frankly inexcusable that such disturbing accusations went viral. During this difficult time, my family and I have been overwhelmed with the support from people all over the country. Thank you, it mattered. I especially appreciate the support from those who know me well enough to know how ridiculous this is. It is important to note that harassment and bullying of this manner is never okay. Cyber attacks based on nothing but lies and misinformation happen all too often. This experience has awakened me to the dangers of how we all can be manipulated to believe things we read on social media that are not true. My hope is that I am able to use the heartbreak and pain I have felt to help others that go through things like this in the future." She apparently found out these rumors while she was at a salon in the area, and she immediately rushed over to her boyfriend's home to assure him that the rumors weren't true. The reason why this went so viral is someone posted this Snapchat conversation where a block of text suggests, I don't know if you've heard about this part, so over break, or I can click right before the break even started, Mary Kay went home early from school because I guess she finished her exams early and went to go watch Evan's little sister in her basketball game and went with the dad. And then they dropped the sister off at home after the basketball game, and they went to dinner and drinks and was buying her drinks and stuff, and then they got with each other there or something. And then that was the first time, and then I don't know how Evan the boyfriend found out, but I know he did. And then he was upset about it. And then like Mary Kay, like told him she'll never do it again. She's such a liar and the guy's such a loser. But the mom apparently knows, but she's not getting divorced fully because of Mary Kay, but because the dad has like cheated on her before like multiple times. So like why, but so bad. This is the main piece of evidence that suggested something may have happened, which obviously are all allegations that Mary Kay has been working really hard to say are categorically false. But you guys might be wondering how this story spread so quickly to begin with. Well, Mary Kay's camp are alleging that there are multiple prominent figures in sports media of all places that are at fault for spreading this information that they say is not true. And honestly, if you just look at this clip, you would kind of understand where they're coming from. And there's even an article that discusses it. According to this article by Katie String, titled ESPN's Pat McAfee and Others Amplified a False Rumor and a Teenager's Life Was Destroyed. It is February 26th and the Pat McAfee Show is filming in Indianapolis the week of the NFL Scouting Combine. McAfee sits behind a desk. Before him is an arc of chairs, occupied by a few of what he describes as his stooges, and a featured guest, Adam Schefter, ESPN's NFL insider. And well, this is what goes down.
Is Jackson Dart of Ole Miss's dad snooping around?
Yeah, which happens at Ole Miss.
Have you heard anything about any of this?
No.
Oh, just like you said.
What did I miss?
Some Ole Miss frat bro, allegedly.
This is the story we know. Allegedly.
Dad had sex with son's girlfriend.
It's kind of funny because this is part of the package of Pat McAfee, right? I mean, you'll discuss something that has to do with sports, like how Jackson Dart's draft stock is doing, for instance, and then you'll draw a parallel into something else that's happening in Ole Miss, and sometimes it's actually quite humorous, and this time it completely backfired on him. Obviously, in Pat McAfee's situation, he probably just read this story on X and thought it was funny to make a joke about it. And this is where some people disagree with each other, because on one hand, you might say that Pat McAfee never even mentioned her name. And on the other hand, you could say that, well, if you typed in 18-year-old college freshman, went to Ole Miss, cheated on her boyfriend with her dad, then you would obviously get the story and find out it's her name. The article continues by saying 5 weeks ago, Mary Kate was a first-year business major dating another Ole Miss student, happy, confident, outgoing. Then her idyllic freshman experience was pierced on February 25th when a spurious claim about her and her boyfriend's father spread on Yik Yak. So that was Yik Yak, not Snapchat Messenger. I didn't know people still used Yik Yak. I mean, Yik Yak was around when I was in college, and I graduated college over a decade ago. So it then gained traction on X and collided with the sports talk ecosystem to become a top trending topic that day. Many posts featured a picture of Cornette pulled up from her Instagram account. Following day, McAfee became the most influential sports personality to address the rumor when he shared it with his ESPN viewers. And it's kind of crazy when you just think about Pat McAfee's reach. It's absolutely insane. It's more than the 60,000 views he gets on YouTube. He's also on Sirius satellite radio, and he's also on ESPN. So there's no question about McAfee's ability of taking very tiny topics and making them viral. But I honestly think the other individuals accused here are actually much more insane. So she's going after Antonio Brown because she posted a meme about Cornette on X. The meme is just Shane Gillis with, I don't know who that is, saying Mary Kate Cornette and her boyfriend's dad. And even the father took to social media to address the situation, saying, by now, some of you know my daughter, Mary Kate Cornette, has been the subject of a totally and categorically false, malicious, organized, and defamatory cyber attack. She has been publicly doxxed, and our family has been forced to take protective measures to ensure her safety. We have filed police reports with local law enforcement in Oxford and the University of Mississippi campus police. The viral and interstate nature of these false attacks even led Congressman Wesley Hunt's office and the FBI to reach out to our family today to join the efforts finding those responsible. Further, I have engaged a highly capable forensic data private investigation team to find the perpetrators. At this stage, we suspect this is some sort of fraternity prank that has mushroomed out of control. I refuse to let my family be targeted and am fully committed to pursuing all criminal and civil actions available. To those responsible, we will find you. While our family has the resources to defend ourselves, many other victims of similar attacks do not. Accordingly, we have decided to start a GoFundMe whose goal is to provide seed capital towards starting a new foundation set up to provide much needed assistance to less fortunate targets of cybercrime. I personally fully commit and guarantee 100% of anything raised will go to help those that haven't been as blessed as our family. Somehow, some way, we will find a way to turn this unfortunate situation into a positive outcome for future victims like my daughter. I think the most bizarre situation here is Barstool Jack Mack referenced the rumor rumor on their personal social media accounts, and Mac promoted a meme coin with Cornette's name on X, which is absolutely insane. I mean, bro even posted it on his X account saying, "I'm up 200% on the Mary Kate coin." I mean, I guess this guy just doesn't miss a bag, but making a meme coin out of this situation is just dastardly. When the more popular people started posting, that's when it really changed, adding that they brought legitimacy to something completely false. As the rumor spread, Cornette removed her name from outside her dorm room, but she still had vile messages slipped under her door. Campus police told her she was a target, and she moved into emergency housing and switched to online courses. Obviously, this is all really terrible, and it gets way worse. Apparently, she would even get swatted, her phone number would get posted online, she'd get creepy messages from guys saying that she's been a naughty girl, and even dudes trying to hit after the news came out. And while messages would get even darker, including some people telling her she should unalive herself. And I guess the problem here is I don't really know what you could sue Pat McAfee over here, because it's not like Pat McAfee sat back and said horrible things about this girl. He just alluded to a viral story that was occurring on social media. I don't know if that is necessarily defamation. And they do get a statement from her attorney. Her attorney said that her legal team may also explore action against those who may have promoted the rumor in an attempt to profit from a cryptocurrency play, saying that this is just a Wild West version of a very familiar problem. It's just that it's even worse because it's not a company. It's an 18-year-old girl. Cornette expressed bewilderment as to why McAfee and other sports media personalities would amplify a false claim that has nothing to do with sports. She's also angry that they would be so callous. They don't think it matters because they don't know who I am, and they think that I deserve it, but I don't. They elevated a lie from the worst corners of X to millions of general sports fans just to get a few more clicks and ultimately a few more dollars. While they don't have to deal with it after it airs, the lie is chained to Mary Kate for the rest of her life. The article also ironically tries to do the same thing to Pat McAfee, bringing up the time Pat McAfee said this about Caitlin Clark.
Like the media people that continue to say, this rookie class, this rookie class, this rookie class. Nah. There's one white bitch for the Indiana team who is a superstar.
Which he later apologized for. The fact that he made a joke about former Michigan State and USA gymnastics Dr. Larry Nassar, Aaron Rodgers, who falsely accused Jimmy Kimmel of being linked to Jeffrey Epstein.
This has something to do with the Epstein list that came out.
A lot of people, including Jimmy Kimmel, are really hoping that doesn't.
And it mentions how McAfee and his sidekicks and some of his guests are proud provocateurs, well aware of the line they toe. Consider the disclaimer that runs at the opening of the show, saying that the following program is a collection of stooges talking about happenings in the sports world. It is meant to be comedic, informative, and the opinions expressed on the show do not necessarily reflect the beliefs of their peers, their boss, or ESPN. There may be some cuss words because that's how humans in the real world talk. If you are young, please seek permission before watching any further. P.S. Don't sue us. That last part is hilarious. And it's really difficult to judge how this should go down because on one hand, these viral stories picking up steam is just the way the internet works. I mean, I was at a Laker game when they faced off against the New York Knicks. I took out my phone and recorded LeBron James stepping up to Stephen A. Smith. I posted it on X. I mean, more recently, everyone is obsessing over this crazy morning routine by Ashton Hall, and there just seems to be a brand new flavor of the month each and every month. I obviously think what happened to Mary Kate Cornette is absolutely terrible, but whenever things like this trend, it's very common for people in the internet commentary space to pick it up and talk about it. And even in the case of Pat McAfee, it's clear that he just saw this on social media and decided to make a joke about it. I don't think this is the last time Pat McAfee is going to get into a situation like this. I think in the future, he needs to just mention these are allegations and we don't know if it's true, but the man probably saw something on X and decided to make a joke out of it. I'm very interested in seeing how this turns out. I personally think it's going to result in a settlement. McAfee probably doesn't want this to blow up even further than it did. He has the money to settle this, but I'm not necessarily sure whether or not Mary Kate Cornette has a case. Either way, what happened to her is awful, especially if it's not true. I hope in the future she gets peace in her life as a result of it. But let me know in the comment section down below, because obviously this is a story that could go either way, and I hope we could have a respectful conversation about it in the comment section. But someone else whose career might be done completely is Deshaun Watson. The Browns said that they're done. I made a separate video on it, and I'm going to leave it in the end screen, and I'll meet you guys there. I'm your boy Mike, and I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.